Chris, thank you very much for joining us on SABC News Channel. I guess the package we just ran now with our reporter Lerato Fikisi speaks volumes to the meeting that you said you had with Minister last night as well.
Your sound disappeared while you were speaking, and you referred to the meeting of the Minister that we had yesterday. It's true. We had that meeting yesterday. It was a meeting not only with the Minister, but also with the 9 MECs for education of the various provinces. What we can say is that we put our case to the Minister to say that at least 7 of the provinces are not ready, but 2 of the provinces, let's say, are about 90% ready. And we also referred to the fact that there were directives that were promulgated on Friday that said, in terms of Directive 4.2, that if a school is ready, that the school can open for learners and for teachers. But she heard all of that, and she intimated that she's going to take it under consideration and that she will make an announcement this evening.
We do not want to jump the gun, Peter. We've seen already some media reports, newspaper headlines, front pages speaking about that somehow, maybe, possibly that the unions, yourselves and associations, school governing bodies could have changed Minister's mind with the reopening of schools. Can you give us say anything about yesterday's meeting? What were your core objectives to the opening of schools come Monday?
Well, the core objective was that 7 of the provinces were not ready. This also made her own investigation by an independent consortium, and the independent consortium also verified or confirmed the fact that some of the provinces are not ready, and that it would not be prudent to open it for all schools, let's say tomorrow. But as I intimated, we also indicated to her that if you look at Directive 4.2 of the directives that were published on Friday, it will be difficult to actually advise schools not to open, because that would be against the law. And we're quite hesitant about that, because we know that if there's an instruction for teachers to report to school and for the schools to open, if we give advice to the contrary, it would be actually be tantamount that we are advising our members, to break the law, and we're not prepared to do that.
So what are you saying to your member unions? We saw a press statement, I think it was Thursday, with yourself and some of the associations linked to, well, the unions as well as teachers associations and governing bodies, where you said and you asked that those schools who are ready, please do not go to schools Monday because some of the schools are not ready. What are you saying to that? Are you still on that take?
When we gave that advice, it was prior to the directives being published. Now that the directives have been published, they have the force of law, and it would be difficult to advise our members not to attend school, because that would be contrary to the instructions of the employer, and they would be vulnerable to disciplinary action. We also have to state that out clearly, and that is when we made the initial, call on schools not to open, it was prior to the regulations or the directives being published. Now that they have been published, it changes the ballgame, and we have to be very careful in terms of our advice to members and to teachers in general.
Some of the media reports that we're getting today is that you're asking, well, the minister is expected, again, we're not quite sure, we don't know what she'll say at 6 o'clock, but media reports say that maybe she'll postpone the opening of schools for a week or 2 or so to help the other schools that you're saying are not ready. If you say 7 of the 9 provinces are ready, maybe push for a week or 2 to delay the opening to get those schools to catch up. Is that correct?
Yes, that particular request was posed to the minister. The understanding is that the minister will take it under consideration, and our understanding is that the postponement in some of the provinces will be for at least a week, and we don't think it will extend beyond the 8th, and that in all probability they will use the coming week, as the minister have said, she used the term for mopping up. And our understanding of that is to ensure that all the PPEs are delivered, that the schools are ready in terms of sanitization, and that maybe even through the course of the week, there may be some of the provinces that may be ready to accept learners from grade 12 and grade 7 in the various schools.
Overall, Chris, it sounds as if you're happy with the opening of schools. I'm sure you are. A lot of parents say yes, schools should open. A lot of parents saying no, schools should not open. It sounds, by the tone of your voice, sounds that you're happy with schools opening. Is that a fair assessment?
It is a fair assessment to say that we would like to see the schools being opened. The reality is that there has been a lot of waste of time. We know that the grade 12 exams have to take place. It would be better to get the schools open as soon as possible, especially the grade 12s. There will be no curriculum trimming for them. They will have to do the exams in terms of the full curriculum, and that is why it is important to get them back. Or otherwise, we may just end up with the whole school year being lost, and that we can't have. The other grades, it's not as serious, and it's possible to do a catch-up there. And in all probability, we will use 2021 to a large extent to make sure, that any work that was lost this year could even be made up next year. That is not the most difficult issue. The most difficult one is to get the school safe and to get the teachers back in class and get the learners back. But it's easier said than done.
I was just about to go there because one of the concerns raised from the press release that you had during the week was that even the revised calendar, the revised curriculum, as it were, had not been delivered to yourselves and the teachers and the schools. So what are the teachers going to be teaching now? Will it be relevant if that is expected to change with the new calendar as proposed by the minister?
The curriculum has been trimmed. We are aware of it. It has been circulated. It is on our website, and we presume that it's on the websites of all the other unions as well, and that it has been disseminated to teachers. We have disseminated to all our members, and we are convinced that they've made a study of it, that they are au fait with the content, and that they will be able to teach it. The trimmed curriculum, and let's just explain that to you, actually identifies the core curriculum building blocks that will be focused on, and we will ensure that learners are not prejudiced in terms of those core issues that they must be able to master in the next few months.
Chris, I'm going to put you on freeze a little bit. I'm going to bring in, I think it's the South African Democratic Teachers Union, is it Matakanye Matakanye, who's the National Association of School Governing Bodies, to the conversation. Matakanye, thank you indeed for joining us. We've been conversing with Chris with regards to the opening of schools and what the expectation of the Minister, Andy Motshekga, to say later this evening. Your take from the meeting you had last night. Chris, speaking of, it was a conducive meeting. A lot of what your concerns were expressed to Minister last night. Matakanye, can you hear me?
Oh, thank you very much. I thought you were talking to Chris. No, we met the minister.
Matakanye, just before you continue, sir, do you mind just pushing your screen back a little bit? There you go. We can't see your face. There you go, sir. Yes, you were saying you met the minister yesterday.
Yes, we met the minister yesterday. Then we tabled the very same demands that we tabled on the 26th of April, the demands of the non-negotiables. And the minister understood and agreed with us that it is true that she wants also to see that schools comply with the health standards. And therefore, then this week, it will be a week of mopping up. And mopping up, we understand it to be that all the system must comply with the health standards. And meaning that now children will not come to school, then teachers will go to school, and they must be orientated, they must be trained, the PPEs must be provided, they must be given to the PPEs, classes must be deep cleaned, and then we must know when we meet probably on Thursday that there is plan for the social distancing, and there is water in classes, running water in classes, and all those things that we once tabled with her. By the time we meet, because we agreed that by Thursday this week, then we are going to meet to ensure that all the non-negotiables are being addressed in our schools before really we can take our children back to schools. And this was what we discussed yesterday.
Yeah. Matakanye, what I'm hearing from you, and Chris, maybe you can hear that as well. Are you saying, Matakanye, that the minister we're not going to get schools to open tomorrow until Thursday, where you'll revisit what you have asked to happen? Is that what you're saying? Matakanye, can you hear me?
Karen, yes.
I'm saying what I picked up from what you've just said. Have you just said that you're waiting until Thursday when you double check on your non-negotiables that they have been reached and done within from what you've asked of the minister before you say schools will open? What am I getting from that? Are you saying that schools will not open tomorrow until Thursday when you have that checkup as you've requested?
No, what we have to understand is that the sector, as we discussed with the minister, the sector has been opened. And it therefore implies that now what was expected tomorrow was the children to return to school.
Yes.
So the children will not return to school. But the sector is opened. They are ensuring that now all the non-negotiables are being addressed, and so that when we meet, then we all assess whether the system is ready to accept our children back.
Matakanye, again, just for clarity, are we saying, you are saying schools are not returning to, children rather, are not returning to schools tomorrow until Thursday, where you'll reassess and then decide when children will return to schools?
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
And that's what I understood the minister to say.
Okay, I think we've just got a brief insight on what the minister is expecting to announce at 6 o'clock this evening. Chris Klopper as well as Matakanye Matakanye, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me. We've run out of time, unfortunately. We're just about a minute and a half to the top of the hour. Thank you indeed for speaking to us. There was National Association of School Governing Bodies, Matakanye Matakanye, as well as Chris Klopper, who is the Executive Director as Teachers Union SABC. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on SABC News.
Thank you.
Thank you.